Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Strap into the party wagon and hold on to your pizza. Okay, all right. Welcome back, everybody, to Epic Tales from the Sewers. I'm your host, Justin, here with my co-host, Mr. Eric Will. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing all right. About yourself there, Justin?
Good, man. Good, man. I'm glad we got our guest today. We invited a guest with a very distinct art style that really made his work stand out. And the first time I saw it, I thought it really jumped off the page. He's a self-taught digital graphic artist known for his work on characters that he grew up on, as well as having one of the most iconic mustaches in the business, as you can see, obviously. Most recently, he worked on the MegaCon exclusive cover for TMNT Adventures Saturday Morning Adventures issue number 10, and has an upcoming cover for TMNT Adventures Usagi Yojimbo Saturday Morning Adventures number 1. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Tim Von Cloedt.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me on here today. I really appreciate it.
And I also love your glasses too. I just want to put that out there. Like I said, This is a visual episode for all the listeners.
Yes.
Incredibly stylish handlebar mustache with the the sort of I forget who the designer is, but those blue glasses are really, really sharp looking. So.
Oh well, thank you. I appreciate it.
We definitely got to ask him questions. What kind of wax he uses, or and all the other good stuff. You know,
I can dish out all the secrets if you're willing to not cringe when I tell you.
Mustache. Wow, he uses whale blubber? No, it's good.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is like in the wintertime, I would grow out like a full beard. I used to have a goatee to like down to here.
Oh, it's down there, yeah.
and like whenever I grow a beard, like I would do my handlebars for the mustache.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as long as yours, but it would be like little, where you just see like a little curl up there.
Sure. Yeah, I actually just trimmed like a whole solid inch off of each end just because it was getting to be too much. Yeah, it can get kind of very loopish, and it's a lot to maintain. So.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna have more mustache questions later, but
sure.
I just kind of want to start off with this. Tim, your website, tvartworks.com.
Yes.
I've seen you work on some characters like Spider-Man, the Ghostbusters, Thundercats, Rainbow Bright, Darkwing Duck, the Muppets, Pokemon, the Animaniacs, among a few.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that you're a fan of cartoons?
Yeah. So the whole concept of TV Artworks, besides it being my initials, TV, it was all based off of stuff that I grew up watching on TV as a kid. The nostalgia, like all of my artwork is pretty well steeped in nostalgia of like the 80s up through maybe the early 2000s. And it's all like movies I would watch on TV, cartoons I would watch on TV. So it was just the things that I don't know what it is about the kids who grew up in the 90s that still thrive on that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like that's so heavily ingrained into me, and that's just the stuff that I enjoy seeing. So when I create stuff that I also would want to look at,
Like I said earlier before we started recording, I love the Bucky O'Hare one. Like, I think that is so cool. That's the one that jumped out to me. Animal was really impressive. Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah. The Bucky O'Hare one, man, like that's such a deep-seated memory of mine. I don't know what it is about anthropomorphic animals in the 90s. Well, I don't know what that was about necessarily, but I have something about rabbits, like Roger Rabbit. Roger Rabbit
Nice.
tattooed on me. Talking about the recent Usagi Yojimbo, Bucky O'Hare, something about anthropomorphic rabbits. I just am not in a weird way, but just as an aesthetic way. I like drawing the big ears and the faces. Like, I don't know what it is, the big curvy lines about it. It's
that
just
was a thing. Like we had All American Rabbit, we had Reader Rabbit, which was on the computer. Like all
Reader Rabbit, yes. Captain Carrot was another one.
Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm right there. It's funny, like looking in the background of where you're sitting, and like your art and all that mimics a lot of what I have going on. Like, oh, he's got the full side arcade up machine. I've got the half size right here.
Yeah.
And I have like one like Bucky O'Hare within arm's reach and like all of that stuff too. So I'm like, yeah, we're probably of the same or similar vintage.
Probably,
That's pretty fun. What with cartoons and stuff like that, is there something that draws you to like specific characters, or is it just like, oh, I should really do a Muppet, but I want to pick him because of the colors? Like, how do you choose?
That's a good question. Man, so like recently I had done the Electric Mayhem. That was a long-term piece that I had worked on because it's like 6 characters. But it also happened to coincide with the fact that there was a new Disney Plus show coming out at the time. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Like it's in the zeitgeist now again. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was just looking at the character designs in general. They're so individually unique. It's not just a repetitive factor of drawing one character to another. They bring out kind of their whole new challenges of like, what can I do on inlay designs on their different colors? What kind of contrast can I make and stuff like that? And that was a real labor of love there because it was so varied from one character to another. So it's that kind of stuff. I try not to repeat myself per drawing, but there are some sort of patterns and inlays I do enjoy using because I think they stand out more. But that one was distinctly because of the character designs. I was like, this is going to be a blast to put together. When it comes to Muppets anyway. But characters in general, I feel like the characters that we grew up with back in the 80s and 90s. I don't know how old you guys are. I guarantee you I'm probably older than you guys.
I'm 38.
Okay.
40 and 43 over here. So
okay, fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Justin, you and I are very close together. Something about the character designs back in the 80s and 90s, still compared to today's designs, way wilder than anything that has been seen before or since. Even just crazy things, basic characters like Biker Mice from Mars. Like the name says it all right there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know any cartoons that are coming out nowadays that are like the Mighty Ducks or the Biker Mice or anything like that. Like they're all just very simple spandex wearing characters, Danny Phantom, stuff like that. So the character designs from back then are just so intriguing. And when I look at them, I see that there's so much I can do to stylize them in certain ways. So that's kind of why I stick to that general era of design.
That's awesome. I like that a lot. Is there something special about the TMNT that you feel a connection to the material when you make your covers?
So, like I said, everything is really steeped in nostalgia. And that's probably one of the earliest memories that I have. When the Turtles cartoon came out, I was 7. And I don't know the distinct moment of when I really caught wind of the Turtles. I know it was like basically right out of the gate when the movie came out, the 4 episodes that they put into that movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. Turtle Tracks, yeah.
Yep. I remember distinctly that premiered on like a Friday or Saturday night in my local. I'm from St. Louis, so one of the stations up there, they made a big deal about the Turtle premiere movie, and I remember kind of seeing that for the first time, just with a big. Not comprehending it at the time, but a big WTF, like I have no idea what this is, insane looking, right? So I remember sitting down and watching it, and just those characters in general are one of the very first, outside of watching Fraggle Rock, again to the Muppets, stuff like that.
Seen that too.
Yeah.
outside of like those sort of characters, like this animated design of these turtles, it was like so bizarre for the time. And it's that sort of, and I think that kind of helped with the way I thought about artwork as well. The curvature of how everything was drawn. Everything is big, bold lines and smooth curves and everything like that. And I think that really has stuck with me for the past 30 years or so. And that really kind of shaped the way that I do things now, for sure.
Oh, that's cool. Were you into drawing them as a kid?
Oh, absolutely. I remember in 1990 getting a sticker book. It was back in the days when they had the sticker books, and you can go to the gas station, get a little tear packet, and pull out
Panini book.
The
Yeah.
Panini books,
Yep.
yes. And on the cover of that was Leonardo with his sword above his head, and just learning how to draw that image is how I started learning to draw the Ninja Turtles. And even then, that image wasn't the same as the cartoon. Yeah. It was supposed to be more akin to the live action movie. And that just figuring out the shapes and the generic design, and starting with circles and then ovals and developing it from there, like that singular image really helped me develop what I was doing.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's Michael Dooney artwork, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that. I'm sure I have it somewhere. I've been trying forever to see if I could find like the little packets to just get them and like put the stickers in. But
if you look on eBay, you can find them, but they are not cheap anymore.
Yeah,
they're not the 50-cent stickers that they used to be.
I don't think I've been looking that hard, but
okay. Yeah.
Like, I just bought some amalgam cards last week.
Oh man, yes.
They're like $12 on a pack of amalgam cards. So I'm like, yeah. And for the listeners, amalgam was the mixture of DC and Marvel characters. For like Dark Claw was Wolverine and Batman.
Heck, yeah,
stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not buying any paninis anytime. But did you get into like the toys and the video games and stuff like that growing up?
Absolutely.
What was your favorite toy, like Turtles toy, growing up?
So mine was I know it's probably not even that exciting, but it was Wingnut and Screw Loose, because Wingnut came with the tiny Screw Loose, and I was just like, the whole bat creature itself it's such an interesting looking character, That and Mutagen Man was another one that was kind of weird, right? Like,
oh, wasn't that insane? Yeah.
Yeah, those really kind of stick out in my head.
Yeah, and you could put the water in him, and
yeah, have, like, and he had all the little floaty things. Yeah.
I used to think of those like from the game Operation, but they were like magenta inside.
Yeah. But my brother, we grew up in a Nintendo household, so we had what can I think of on Nintendo was the first 3 games up, the arcade, then or the first game, obviously. Everyone's mad about swimming through the seaweed. We all remember that, right?
Yeah, the dam scene. Yep.
Yeah. And then you got the arcade game, and then you got I think it was Mutants in Manhattan. Was that the third one?
Yeah, that was the third one.
I remember the boardwalk scene on that one all the time. Yeah.
Oh, so cool. Yeah. It used to piss me off when they would jump out of the sand. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I love it though. When I figured out if you hold the down button when you hit the attack, it will flip them and kill them in one. So then I'm like, oh, this game is mine.
Oh,
I love it.
Yeah,
I did not know that one.
No, you didn't know that?
No. I want to try that.
More recently, I've been addicted to Shredder's Revenge.
Oh, it's so good, yeah.
I've got it on PlayStation, and I've been through the whole game, but I'm just trying to level up all of my characters through the survival mode.
I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just
Survival
playing.
Ain't no joke, though.
Yeah. Eric's kind of the expert when it comes to video games. He's the one that's really good at it, and I kind of lump by. You know?
Yeah.
Did you get the pack with Karai and Usagi Yojimbo?
Usagi. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I take it that you're a fan of Usagi. Do you read the comics? I
do. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Usagi.
Yeah, I just picked up the Space Usagi. They had 3 issues of that one. That was a really good read. That was pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, hold on. Sorry. Yeah, I don't remember reading Space Usagi when I was younger, so I remember the action figure of Space Usagi, but that was back when TMNT toys were creating like Star Trek figures and football players and all
wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly. So when I saw Space Usagi as a kid, I'm like, okay, it's just another spinoff. But back when I was a kid, I had no idea that Space Usagi was like a thing, you know. But I did read the most recent series as well, and I really enjoy that stuff. So. Yeah.
It's nice to talk to someone that actually reads comics now too, because a lot of the artists that we talk to don't have that sort of connection to the materials anymore. Are you reading the Saturday Morning Adventures?
Absolutely.
Late,
that's why I was so stoked to get on board with doing a cover with that, because I was already a huge fan of that one, the G.I. Joe one and the Dungeons and Dragons one. You know, I think the G.I. Joe one came out first, and Dan Schoening, the guy who was doing the artwork, like, he made it look like the animation cells. Like it made it look like it was screenshots taken right out of an episode that never existed. You know what I'm saying? And he did the same thing. He's doing the same thing still with Turtles as well. And it's just, I was still so enthralled with the book. And so when I got the opportunity to jump on board, I'm like, you don't understand what this means to me right now.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. We had last year Eric Burnham was on, and it was right before they started #1 again. So we were talking to him in between a lot of Ghostbuster stuff where he was working with Dan, and yeah, I think now Sarah Myers doing the internal stuff for the majority of them. So, and I love her stuff. So.
Yeah, she still brings that animation vibe to it, but she's got her own style, which it kind of reminds me a lot more to the early Archie's Turtles adventure books.
Oh yeah. And that's my #1 favorite of all time.
Okay.
Is the Archie stuff. So
yeah.
And I think Eric, you're a Mirage guy, right? Or are you like early Mirage? Yep.
Yeah, I like the early Mirage. I mean, of course, you know the IDW Last Ronin too. I mean, you can't go wrong with that either.
I think IDW is going to eclipse everything for me, because this 1 through 150 run with like all these others like Turtles in Time and the Villain micro series and all that, it's so rich, and I think that's eventually just going to take over as my #1 favorite. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the Last Ronin, you know, it really got me into comics like very, very, you know what I'm saying, pretty much a lot more than I was. So I mean, Last Ronin is probably my favorite. I mean, just because I mean it's well written. Issue 3 was a little kind of like, okay, where
scary for
here?
you, sad.
It was just like, okay, where were we
Depressing.
at here? Yeah, but other
issue
than that,
4 is my favorite. So I mean,
yeah,
and
issue 4.
It's sad, but I love it.
Issue 2 is my least favorite. Everybody, well, if anybody listens, and anybody that knows me, I'm a Raphael guy. So
yeah. They did the death scenes in general were not kind in any way to leaving spoilers, leaving Mikey all alone. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, we blame
our listeners have heard it by now.
Yeah, Ben Bishop is a murderer. So. You know.
It's not so much that, it's just that he also put Turtle Killer on his license plate. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's a madman.
So. Yeah.
Hey, mine says TMNT Dad on my license plate. So.
Okay, right on. That's rad, man.
There you go.
I'll be bringing that, by the way. So.
Oh, you're bringing the license plate?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I was going to ask about the Last Ronin here, Tim. There is the Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution. Is there any chance that we'll see a cover from you for something like this?
Probably not. The retailer that I'm going through, Lightning Comics, my buddy Joe Doyle did a cover for Re-Evolution 1 under Lightning Comics as well. And then Lightning Comics is using Ivan Tao right now for a lot of the Last Ronin books. And I just, not even that it's a competition of any sort, but I don't even want to have my book up there next to his, because his artwork is just insane. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think I'll be touching Last Ronin right now. Kind of eyeing a different property, maybe Transformers.
Oh,
know?
wow, that would be great for you.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
I would love to do something with the Energon universe in general, But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm still waiting for my next book to come out this upcoming Wednesday.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'll get to that point and then I'll see what's happening next. I'm not one of those guys who likes to just grab everything that I can and get just spread myself thin. I don't want to do that. I want to put as much effort to the one thing at a time while it's happening, and then I'll move on to the next.
That's great. That's really cool.
Mm.
So speaking of art and your distinct style and all that, I have some musings on it, and I wanted to kind of ask you about your inspirations. I was curious to find out is inspiration for your work, for your style. Um, and the folks that'll see this on YouTube, we'll see if we can put some pictures up there, just what Tim's style looks like. But it's really distinct.
So there are artists who I enjoy that I see the way it's more akin to the way that they do character dynamics and the way they pose characters and stuff like that. David Nakayama I love the way that he poses characters, I love the way that I don't know, something about the smoothness of the way he does art in general is super appealing to me. But as far as like the aesthetic design of what I do, I live down in an area called Bradenton, Florida, and I was working I was working at a very popular orange juice company, Tropicana, and I was doing structural design there is what I was doing, and there was a train yard on the facility because that's how they would ship out, tons and tons of orange juice. It was crates and pallets full of orange juice on these trains. And the trains would come in every day with fresh tags on them, fresh graffiti on them. And we would, you'd see the workers painting over it every time. And I'm like, that sucks that these guys, you can tell they put in a lot of artwork on just vandalizing these train cars, right? But the design, the just the swoopy letters and just the overall like drip aesthetic of the graffiti, I was like, that is really rad. I wonder if there's a way that I could develop that in drawing, because I use a tablet. Like, there's got to be some sort of way for me to figure out how to do this. And I started kind of doing that, and then I'm like adding a neon effect as well. And I think as far as like the line work of characters, that's kind of where it comes from, is just graffiti in general. Because I've seen some beautiful designs, and the way that some of the lettering was done last, and you could tell that they did like the inlay work, the coloring of it before they came over it with the black spray paint to shape out the letters and everything like that. I'm like, that is sick. That is really, in a good way, I mean. So I think that kind of struck a chord with me on trying to develop my own style. But for the most part, it's just experimentation. That's where the rest of it came from. Just experimenting. Yeah.
It's interesting because to me, like I'm a student of art. I like art, and I like getting into the weeds and being nerdy about things. And the first time I saw one of your covers, I immediately thought of neon signs, and it reminded me of the 1950s pop art movement, right? So for the listeners, pop art was a movement that came about from UK and the US in the late 1950s, and it sort of challenged the traditional conventions of art by utilizing imagery from comic strips and comic books and other mass-produced advertisements at the time. But you also see, and anyone who's looking at us right now can see those little dots in the corner of the blue with like those sort of printing dots, which is really evident in pop art. But also it's the color, the use of color and things that are unconventional. Most famously, Andy Warhol, who created the image of Campbell Soup, or the 4 panels of Marilyn Monroe. But before what I was just going to say is your use of color reminds me a bit of Andy Warhol. So when I see your cover, I think Andy Warhol, but he's also modern art, which centers on experimentation. Literally in my notes, and you said it. So I see a lot of similarities in your choice of subjects, and like you said, with the nostalgia of things you grew up with. So when I see your work, I'm like, wow, this guy is a sort of like a neo homage to Andy Warhol.
So I appreciate that, because a lot of times when I tell people, artists like Andy Warhol kind of do strike a chord with me, they typically think of like the Campbell soup can, which in a way doesn't really represent what I'm doing, but like the Marilyn Monroe stuff. So I have a series of 4 turtle heads, which are made of neon. And I recently had them made into a single print.
Oh, gorgeous.
So it's kind of like that Marilyn Monroe with the neon turtles. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that definitely strikes a true
that flare of like tagging sort of graffiti art and all that too is evident throughout all that. And I didn't even see that until you said it.
Oh yeah. Behind the turtles here, there's like different graffiti on the wall behind.
I see the how like where right there where their nose is.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and then as well as they're done with their head. So yeah, because that one says like something like pizza or something like that.
Yeah,
at the
it
bottom
says pizza time. You got cowabunga over here. Cowabunga, turtle power behind this one, and this one, it's mostly covered up, but it says "Go Ninja Go."
Oh, so,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
That was played at my wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right on. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But it's funny that you said that, because this isn't even unwrapped yet. This is a brand new set of prints that I just got. So it's funny that you mentioned the Warhol aesthetic.
Yeah, it's like I said, student of art, and it strikes a chord, and I'm like, I know the feeling, and it's not like when I see something that reminds me of another artist and all that, it's not because that reminds me necessarily because it looks exactly like it. It's like, oh no, I know the feeling that it evokes, and that's kind of what I got from it. So
for sure. And
cool.
You were talking about like the dots that you have here on the display.
Yep.
A lot of my artwork that has full figures with faces and stuff, you'll find those dots
100%
shading the faces.
Yeah, I saw that in the Ren and Snippy was pretty evident. It was all that, so
yeah,
it's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm a fan because I like all the things that you picked. The subject matter, I was surprised. I'm like, wow, this rolls pretty deep. You've got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and you've got Darth Vader, and some of the stuff there is really cool.
It's funny you mentioned the Power Rangers, because we have a big Power Ranger convention down here in Orlando called Ranger Stop. And I was creating my own artwork so that I could have the actors sign something I created, And so the Power Rangers, if you look at the Power Rangers, they're very kind of stiff and not quite the same as what I do now, because they're like some of my very first pieces that I started doing in this sort of design. But yeah, I just started creating artwork that I could get signed by the people who influenced that artwork.
Oh, that's so cool. That was actually going to be my next question, was about how has your art changed since you started? So you mentioned that that's maybe a little bit different than you would have done now.
So when I first started doing this artwork, I would create the overall line shapes, and then I would like insert an image of like, say it was like the Red Ranger. I would insert an image of his Zord, the Tyrannosaurus Zord, in behind him. That would kind of fill out the red space, if you will. And then I kind of started moving away from that sort of aesthetic. Like one of my more popular pieces still to this day is a Lion-O that I did with the cat's lair inlaid inside of him.
Cool. I did see that with the big Sword of Omens, that burning red eye.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And so I've kind of moved away from that sort of inlay design on things, and I started creating my own textures and textures and just kind of color aesthetics that I start putting in each kind of section of a character. So you won't get an overall image, like a design throughout every single piece of a character. Like every different color of a character will have a completely different aesthetic inside of it.
Oh, that's cool. As evident in that Foursquare Ninja Turtles one you did.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And when you work on the turtles, you're using a lot of different colors. Do you have a specific color for each of the turtles? Like, is there like a purple 23 or something that you use for Donnie, or like what do you do when you choose your colors?
Yeah. So I try to I have, the color hex, and I try to pick the most vivid blue, which is probably like a sky blue equivalent, but as far as like a number system, I don't know that blue number 5 or whatever typically jumps out in my head. I think it just comes out to, I'll put in a blue and then I'll modify it to look as annoying as possible. Right?
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But like when it comes to the turtles, for my sort of design, like the masks need to be neon. Whenever I do turtle, especially on the most recent book coming out, Michelangelo's mask is neon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, but then I'll add other touches as well, like the carrot on Usagi's pizza here is neon, little touches here and there. But the main focus of a character needs to be neon, because that's really going to grab people's eyes. And then everything else is just kind of, I don't know, amplifies the way that neon looks, I think.
So it's almost like you're accentuating your storytelling by what you want to show as that neon sort of
the focus, whatever the
Yeah,
focus is.
makes it pop out,
Yeah.
stand out.
Right.
It's really
Right.
cool. Yeah, I could see just like endless possibilities for this. Like, what if you did an album cover, and it was like okay, we're re-releasing, a Secret of the Ooze, but you get the album cover, or
Here, let me
even like
let me show
something
you
like
this
that.
here.
What about Limp Bizkit $3 bill?
Limp Bizkit. Okay, could be. Yeah, you never know.
Somebody had recently commissioned me to do a skateboard for them, and they wanted that classic 1990 movie image of them poking out of the sewer, in the city street.
Oh,
So I did that, but then I told the guy, I'm like, hey, I'm just so you know, I'm gonna change it a little bit, but I'm gonna make an art print out of it. And he's like, yeah, send me one, and cool, we'll be cool with it. So this guy here,
Oh, very cool.
as you can see, like the masks are all neon on that, and that's kind of like the focus of the image.
Makes your eyes
What does that
attracted
say,
to
Eric?
that.
What's that?
I like
What's that
that.
famous phrase?
Never
On...
pay full price for late pizza. Wise man
Nice.
says forgiveness is divine. I never
Yeah.
pay full price for late pizza.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll
yeah.
love it.
So, wanted to focus, the turtles are the focus of that image. So I wanted to make sure that stood out with the neon.
They are releasing next year a full-size statue of that for about $2,500.
I know,
yeah.
and I don't know what to think about that. Like,
Let me hit the lottery, then I would get
good.
it. But
I'm good.
I don't know where in the hell I would put it in my room at. I have no room now.
So, correct. I feel like it's the equivalent of owning, the aircraft carrier, the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier as a kid.
Man.
Like, you needed a whole room to yourself just to have that thing, right? Like, so granted, if I had $2,500, I would drop it on that statue in a heartbeat. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, like if my wife was out of town, absolutely.
Sure. but I
sorry,
I
honey.
I think I'll pay my mortgage that month instead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't want to be living in the sewer. I mean,
right with the statue.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I could see all kinds of opportunities, and you mentioned commissions, so that's the kind of thing you get for commissions. Do people ever ask you to do things like, hey, make this and I'll make it into a tattoo? Does your art kind of go into that kind of stuff? Or
I've had people ask me, they're like, how do I go about making this into a tattoo? And I'm like, have a tattoo artist that you trust. I haven't done anybody's tattoo yet, but I've had people come up to me and they're like, bro, I'm like, one of them was a Donald Duck. And he's like, this angry Donald, I think I want to go get this tattooed on me. And I'm like, cool.
It's Donald Duck's birthday today. So
it is. It's his 90th birthday, right? Yeah. Some guy's like, I would love to get this tattooed on me. I'm like, cool. If you connect with your tattoo artist, have him hit me up and I can send him a file of just the Donald Duck and you can get it done. It never happened, but I'm like, if I don't know what it would take to get my sort of image tattooed on somebody, but you would have to not to say you have to have a really good artist to copy my work, but you know, there's a lot of shades in different color variations and fadeaways and stuff like that, that if you want it to pop out right, you're going to have a guy with some skills.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that one.
So who are the characters that you haven't played with yet that you think would be a really good sort of next project? Or is there any sort of crossover with the Turtles that you haven't seen that you'd like to try?
Oh, that's a good question. Wow. What do I want to do next? So I have a long list. I actually had, I got on Instagram and asked people, like, what would you like to see in my style? And people want to see movie monsters. They want to see
the creature of the Black Lagoon looked amazing on that Tumblr you had.
Thank you. Thank you. The creature is actually one of my most popular items of any, you know, whether it's a print or whether it's on a piece of merchandise or whatever. People eat that up, and that makes me really happy because creature is one of my favorites. But they want to see, I've done a Godzilla in the past that I need to revisit, but people want to see things like Godzilla. They want to see an Ultraman, you know, some kaiju related stuff, especially. But you know, whenever it comes to stuff I want to do, I had started this Fraggle. I talked about Fraggle Rock before. I'd started doing some Fraggle Rock stuff. I kind of want to get back to. My most recent project is I'm doing arcade character selection screens.
Oh, very cool.
And so the X-Men arcade from the 80s is one that I'm working on right now. That was a 6-character game. And it was I don't know if you remember it back in the day. It was a 2-screen arcade machine where 6 people could play simultaneously. And you had Wolverine and Cyclops and Colossus and Nightcrawler and Dazzler and Storm.
It is the only game that you can actually play as Dazzler.
Right.
The only other game is there's like a hack on, I think, like Steam or something like that with X-Men Legends 2. But as stands, this is the only video game where you can play as Dazzler.
Right. Yeah.
I'm obsessed with that. So
it's not even the iconic Dazzler image that everybody knows, where she's in like the bodysuit. You know what I'm saying? Like she's wearing like this punk street jacket with a headband. You know, she's looking like a street punk kind of. You know,
kind of like the Legend of Billie Jean.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I know so much about like that Outback era X-Men.
Yeah.
There's more than one set of mutants in my life, but yeah.
So awesome. I started doing that because I want to come back around and do the Turtles, but I've done so much Turtle stuff lately. People have been asking me to do so much Turtle stuff that I'm like, let me step away from that because I don't want to oversaturate people with that. Let me step away and I'll do this X-Men one, and then I'll come back and do the Turtles. Nice. And then I think after that I'm going to do the Simpsons stuff. You know, stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Eric, what's your thought? Who would you pick if you were going to ask him to make something to create it?
I don't know, but I'm thinking. I don't know. For some reason, it keeps popping in my head as Mega Man.
So I did Mega Man. I have Mega Man.
Do you?
Yeah. If you check out my Instagram, he's one of the more recent posts.
Okay.
But I recently did Mega Man.
I 100% thought he was going to say Street Sharks. I really did.
Oh yeah, right on, Street Sharks.
No, okay, all right.
No.
I was going to say Silverhawks. So that's
me and my buddy,
that's on my list.
Yeah, me and my buddy have a little thing about Street Sharks. So okay. He kind of upsets me. He's like, "Oh, Street Sharks are the Turtles copy the Street Sharks." And I'm like, "No, they didn't."
Oh,
is your buddy Vin Diesel? That's
no. No, he's like poke the bear. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
So
man, I love that you said Transformers, because now you got me thinking of Shockwave, because I think like Shockwave would be amazing with like that one cycloptic eye, and
I could see it already. Make that cycloptic eye neon with like this halo coming off of it, a light halo. Like I could totally see it already.
Yeah, and the other thing that kind of I was thinking of, I saw the Spider-Man that you did, and I seen the Batman. I love that you did the 66 Batman, by the way. But Spider-Punk, I think, would be like really cool to see like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's another one that's on my list. I have such a long list that when I go to think about it, I just draw a blank, because it's such a long list. But Spider-Punk, like Hobie, is my favorite Spider character of all time. I swear to God. I generally, so man, I don't want to even say it because I don't want to generate any sort of hate mail. But
You don't have to. It's okay.
Peter Parker is so lame. I don't like any version of Peter Parker in general. So basically, any Spider character that's not Peter Parker, I love. I'm all about it.
What about Venom or Carnage?
So I'm not opposed to Venom, but I feel like there's been an oversaturation of Venom. Like
what about anti-Venom?
Anti-Venom, that you don't see a lot of anti-Venom. That's a good call. That's a good call.
With the white too was interesting
right.
color choice. Yeah.
Yeah, the white versus black. Yeah, that's a good call actually. But Venom itself, I just feel like I would just fall into the fold of everybody else who's doing Venom.
My Little Pony Venom. There you go.
Right? Especially with that scene
Damn,
from the recent
dude.
Venom movie. Dude, that's a great idea, right?
You just dropped an art bomb on us. That's
right.
Great, Eric.
Like, because there's that Venom horse in the recent Venom trailer, but you turn that into a My Little Pony, bro. That's sick. That's a good idea.
I like it. Yeah, that's wow. Yeah, I'll throw one last one at you. Booster Gold is who I would go with.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Nice and neon, sitting there, or maybe like doing some sort of dynamic pose. That would be cool.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially, and that one is his character design is. The form of him is basic, but the blue versus gold is such a great contrast. It's actually one of my favorite color contrasts. And just to make all that gold, maybe neon with the blue, that would be really rad. Little glowing skeets.
No, yeah. Now, in terms of mustaches, I wanted to ask this: what character in the Ninja Turtles universe do you think would best be suited to have a curly handlebar mustache?
Oh, Donatello. Only because the toy of him.
That is the right answer.
I can't see. I can only see that just on Donnie. I really can.
Yeah, right. I remember this toy of him that I had as a kid, where he's got the fedora and the trench coat, but he's got this stupid mask. They had the fake nose and glasses. Do you remember this toy?
Yeah. Undercover Don. Yep.
Undercover Don. Yeah. I just always pictured that having this big stupid mustache on it as well, and so that's why it's always in my head that I can totally see Donnie sporting that. Is just part of a cheesy disguise, if anything.
Kind of fun.
I like that, yeah, because I know there's like some precedence for this, like in the 2012 cartoon, Raphael had that fake beard in like the Road Warrior sort of thing, and
right.
But yeah, no, I think Donnie's the right answer for that. I mean, Wingnut, maybe. I don't know if bats have mustaches, but Splinter's a cop out because he kind of already has something. So and who do you think would be the best at grooming? In terms of like mustache upkeep, maybe the Shredder. I don't know. What's your take on that?
So I'm surprised that when especially in the old school cartoon, when Shredder would take off his mask, how clean cut he was.
Yeah.
Because if I wore all that garb all the time, I wouldn't bother shaving. Like I would be a mess under that. So he's good at grooming himself, but he obviously doesn't do much for facial hair.
Yeah.
The best at grooming themselves.
Katsu had a nice one in the movie, right? He had kind of like that Gomez Adams sort of pin.
Right. But I think we're thinking too clean. Obviously, the best one at grooming themselves is Splinter.
Of course, yeah, makes sense.
I mean, he's nothing but hair, and he's just clean. I bet he smells pretty good too. To tell you the truth, despite living in a sewer, like I bet he's got all sorts of incense around him all the time, and he just smells like sandalwood or whatever, I don't know, incense people would use down there. But I bet you he is super clean.
I like that perspective on Splinter.
Plus his facial hair. I mean, you can't deny it. There's no food stuck in that. It's not gross looking. Like he looks clean.
Goatee.
Yeah.
He never comes across as being gross. Maybe in like one issue with like Rat King or something like that. But yeah,
sure,
that's a good point. Yeah. I like your perspective on Splinter. That's pretty cool.
Never thought of it that way.
You kind of touched on this with the cover that you showed with Usagi and the pizza, but imagine that you're working on a new piece with your personal favorite pizza toppings on a pizza, and you're gonna embellish them in your style. What's going on this pizza?
So, how do you?
Yeah, that's a deep cut, right?
How do you guys feel about pineapple on pizza? Let me just ask that first.
Well, that's like 2 questions away. So I guess I would say one of us was for it, and then
Okay.
there's Eric. So
Okay. I actually like the combination of bacon and pineapple, to tell you the truth. Yeah. I actually did a poll online on my Instagram of, hypothetically, if Usagi were to eat a New York style pizza, like what would his toppings be? And everybody came back. They're like, well, he's a rabbit. He's a vegetarian. So you got to have like carrots and peppers and stuff like that. But then I said, you guys are forgetting that traditionally turtles are vegetarians too. And they're eating pepperoni or whatever ungodly things on their pizza most of the time. Yeah, right.
Thanks.
So I made a compromise, and so if on the cover itself, if you notice, this is a very red piece of pizza.
Yes.
And that's because he's eating what would kind of be a Japanese equivalent. I think it's called okonomiyaki, which is a Japanese style pizza. The Turtles actually ate it in the Where When series last year when they went back in Japan.
Yep.
They're like, oh, look, Japanese pizza. And Usagi's like, yeah, it's okonomiyaki. And it's basically pizza, but it's strictly vegetarian. And so I decided I'm going to, if people can get past the fact that there's no cheese on this pizza, maybe they might pick up on the fact that that's kind of the pizza I think Usagi would be eating.
That's cool.
So yeah. But if I were to make my own personal pizza, I bacon and pineapple. Don't hate me for that. Don't hate me for it, cool. Eric.
Okay, I half hate you and I half don't. Okay.
All right. I'm sorry.
Okay, because
bacon, so.
I love bacon. Bacon is part of my food group, so I'm good.
Okay, fair.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I love like a lot of these stories that we have tie back to like just comic stories and all that. And like it seems like you're so steeped in this just like we are, which is so absolutely refreshing. Like you read Where When, that's so cool.
Yeah. I could show you my back room. I have this big giant rack full of 25, almost 30 long boxes full of comics. I've been collecting for like 35 years now.
Nice.
So I'm definitely steeped in comics. So this was always a goal of mine to work up to the fact of doing comic covers. Like as an artist, doing this personally, this is a huge thing for me. So being such an avid comic fan, getting this opportunity, I know I said it before, but it just means the world to me. So yeah, I'm definitely steeped in the world of comic books and especially Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
So other than Ninja Turtles and all that, what are you into? What are you reading? What's good? Stuff like that.
So I've really been into what's been happening recently with the universe building, right? Radiant Black.
Oh
yeah. The whole world built around Radiant Black. And don't get me wrong, I'm still under the theory that Kyle Higgins developed Radiant Black off of a storyline he couldn't do on Power Rangers, right? And it just exploded from there because I loved his run on Power Rangers. The shattered grid storyline and everything like that. Like that was a fantastic twist on the whole Power Rangers universe. But
we have a lot of crossover fans for Power Rangers, as you can imagine. So
yeah,
so definitely
for sure. So then when he moved on, I'm like, I loved what he did on Power Rangers. So I'm gonna check out this Radiant Black thing he's doing, and I instantly fell in love with the whole concept of it. So yeah, and even all the other spin-offs, Radiant Pink, Radiant Red, Rogue Sun, stuff like that. Like I've been enjoying all of it, and I love that whole universe in general. And then next to that, the Energon universe just came out within the past year, and I've just been eating that up. Just because Transformers and G.I. Joes, aside from Turtles, was another thing that was huge in my childhood because it was in that same era.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And the fact that Hasbro is just trying right now to make this one combined unit, I think is something that has been, teetered with in the past, but now they're really making a concerted effort, and it's paying off. And
they're making a concerted effort to drain my wallet is what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So I'm just glad to see that it's finally coming together, But other than that, I read a lot of indie books. I'm a big fan of an author, Cullen Bunn.
Yep.
He does a lot of great horror stuff that I'm into. Door by Door was a recent one that he did that I was really into.
He's going to be on our sister show, Splash Pages Comic Book Club, this week, actually, on Tuesday. So, folks
cool.
listening to this, check out Splash Pages with Cullen Bunn. So
that's rad. That's really cool.
I'm a big fan of his Valiant work where he did Shadow Man and Punk Mambo. I love
Punk Mambo was legit, right?
I love Punk Mambo. So
yes.
I have actually a blank cover drawn by Adam Gorham when that came out. So that was so cool.
That was one of his first pieces I had read, once again, because of the character design.
Oh,
with the colorful mohawk and everything like that. I'm like, I'm gonna see what this is about, right? Probably the same aesthetic that really drew me to Spider-Punk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
But then I started reading Sixth Gun, and I have been just the biggest, pardon the phrase, I've been the biggest stan for Sixth Gun since it came out in like 2010. And I was like, okay, Cullen Bunn, he wrote this and it's good and it's really intrigued me. But it wasn't until he started doing other things in the same kind of, supernatural genres. Harrow County is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
The Damned, stuff like that. Helheim. Helheim was, I think it's super underrated. If you haven't read that, I really suggest that.
I haven't read Sixth Gun, but I've read Harrow County.
Yeah,
and like I said, all the Valiant stuff. But
right.
Yeah, I think horror is just like some people get it and some people don't, and he just gets that. And I think he's been working with his son on a couple books that he's.
Okay.
But it's good stuff. And usually he's a St. Louis guy, so usually he is out at all these Comic Cons in Chicago where I'm around. So we run into each other out there.
Yeah, he's down there in Cuba, not Cuba, Missouri, but yeah, I think maybe it is Cuba, Missouri, but it's a little bit outside St. Louis, but nobody knows anything outside of St. Louis. So that's what you say is I'm from St. Louis. Yeah.
All we know is you got good barbecue. That's what most people know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That and I root against the Cardinals. So
okay. I'll forgive you for that because you're in Chicago. I totally get it.
I'm not a Cubs fan, but I'll just say this. I'm from the Northeast, so the Boston Red Sox were my team.
Fair.
So I just make it a good habit because usually when they're against the Red Sox, they're in a World Series. So
right. Yeah. Now, I'd be kicked out of my family if I said I didn't enjoy the Cardinals. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, so that's some cool stuff. Radiant Black. I first became aware of that when we had a guest on named Aaron Bartling who had just done a cover for Radiant Black, and it was gorgeous. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, is this like a motorcycle book? What is this? It looks like a motorcycle. Oh no. And it's like you said, it's like this could have very easily been a Power Rangers story. So
sure, yeah,
it's pretty cool. Yeah, and let's see. Have you animated any of your work before, or any plans to do something like with flashing lights of the neon or anything along those lines?
So I haven't done any animation, just because I just haven't messed with any of the programs or anything like that. Sitting at conventions, tabling at conventions, you get a lot of people who come up to you and like, oh man, I think it would be great to do this or great to do that. And one guy owns a production company and you connect. And then I go, I went to him and I'm like, hey, I'm let's work on something. It's not even my idea. He's like, I got this idea and I think your art would work for it. I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. And then you never hear from him again. That's a common story. So I've had people ask me about animating something that I could draw for them in my style, but things just never seem to happen. Now, when I started doing my artwork, people came to me and they go, how do I get a neon sign of this? Especially my Ninja Turtles, which were a neon sign on a wall. They're like, how do we do this? And I'm like, that's a good question. Let me look into it. And then, you start investigating like actual neon, like real neon, how to do it.
Yeah.
And, I think I would be better off going to go buy that Ninja Turtle statue we were talking about because that would be cheaper.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I
But
think
they do.
they're doing
They have,
stuff now with LEDs and like frosted glasses, right?
yeah, exactly. I actually watch a lot of those on TikTok, believe it or
Oh,
not,
okay.
as people cutting the little neon lights, and then cutting the filtered, plastic that goes over it to give it that light neon light look. Like, it's fascinating. It's still not a cheap process, but
No,
it's definitely not as expensive as the other option. But it's a commitment, and I think I would like to get my logo done, like something like that, at my for my booths, just to see the quality and how it really shows up well, and that could be a next step moving forward at a point in time.
that's cool. That's really cool. And I've got it at TV Artworks on Instagram, tvartworks.com. We got notes up, and we'll put them in the show notes and all
Sure.
that. Eric, what kind of questions might you have for Mr. Tim?
Oh, I mean, we didn't even ask him his favorite turtle, man.
We didn't get there yet. I was saving that for you. So
Okay. I was just making sure. I was like, who is
Sure.
your favorite turtle?
Raphael. It is Raphael.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
See, now I 75% like you more.
Yeah, see.
Okay. Fair.
You
Well,
was halfway since with the pineapple, but now you like Raphael.
Usually
let me-
we ask the turtle first and do the pineapple second. So.
Oh, okay, got you. Let me pose a question to you guys. Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right. Say each turtle represented the equivalent of a house in Hogwarts. Which house would you be in? Say, because they
I
each
would
have
be
their own
Slytherin.
distinct
Would you?
individual. So
Okay.
which one would be Slytherin? Would that be Raphael, I think, though, right?
I think so.
Yeah, right. Because I think
he's
Donatello would be
angry.
Hufflepuff. I think Leonardo would be Gryffindor, and I think that Michelangelo would. Michelangelo is not the brainy one, but would Michelangelo be Hufflepuff? Yeah, Michelangelo would be Hufflepuff, and then Donatello would be Ravenclaw.
I want to say this. I hate that you're probably right that Leo is in Gryffindor because
Right.
I find that incredibly basic. And as a Leo guy, I'm like, oh yeah, but it's like that's the thing. You put that sorting hat on any of them, and you could find Michelangelo in any of these too. Like
Yeah.
Hufflepuff probably makes the most sense because it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of the goofy cast off thing.
Right,
But yeah,
right,
he's
right.
pure of heart and brave, so it could go in there too. I like the idea of Donatello being the Slytherin because if you look at what he's done in the comics and all that, he is very interested in getting things done despite the consequences, including like the magic that he's mastering, the fact
So
that he created Armagon,
yeah,
just
so
saying. Yeah.
I could feel that because that's part of his scientific side of his brain of like, this is how things go, and this is what has to be done to reach the end task, no matter who might get hurt in the meantime or what consequences it might have. This is the end product. I could kind of get that. Yeah.
And despite everything with Raphael, I find him to be a bit more compassionate in that area where it's like he, at the end of the day, still cares about not hurting the people that he cares about. Hurting other people, oh yeah. No,
So I don't think so. I think people think Raphael has an anger problem. I just think he has strong emotions and sometimes can't control them necessarily. So you could be right there too. I mean, this went into a deep dive than I thought it was going
That's what
to.
we do
I
here.
thought it might have been an easy answer.
No, that's what we do here.
I
Yeah.
played myself on this. I don't know.
It's okay because somebody asked
You're
us one
good.
time, I forget if it was Randy MacArthur who had asked us, is like, where do you see the turtles in terms of like the spectrum for the Green Lantern Corps? Who's green, who's blue. So we've like this is not unfamiliar to us. We were prepared. So,
Okay.
shout out to Randy. So
Yeah, yep.
But yeah, no, that was a great comeback. I like that a lot. So
Okay, cool.
and tune in next week when we talk about dividing them into the houses of Game of Thrones. That'll be interesting. So no, but that's pretty cool. So you're a Raph guy, I'm a Leo guy, and Eric is a Raph guy. What leads you towards Raphael? Like, what do you like about Raph?
Oh man, it goes back.
Said.
It goes back to he was the cool one when I was a kid. In the old cartoon, like he was essentially, and especially in the 1990 movie, where a lot of the focus was around him being a badass. Yeah, I just his overall attitude towards things. And, it's just always appealed to me. Actually, in front of my arcade machine down here, I actually have a little Raff rug.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a
Where'd
good
you
looking
get that
rug.
one?
Yeah.
A friend of mine makes these. I can connect you guys.
Cool.
Is it the Rug Man?
No, he's a local guy here in Bradenton. So
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I am friends with a guy on Facebook. He's the Rug Man, and he does rugs. Like
okay, right on.
So
Eric, since we're gonna do this one visually on YouTube and all that, why don't you show him the blanket that you have there that your wife made?
oh,
I see you post all the time of all this cool stuff that your wife
Mm,
makes, man.
Okay, so my wife, she makes these
Yo,
blankets.
So
yeah,
amazing. So amazing.
Okay. So we got this right here.
yeah.
For the
That's
listeners, this is
Raphael.
a big Raphael head on a giant, what almost looks like a full-size bed, sort of
Yeah,
blanket,
it's a 4x3.
crocheted.
It's 4x3.
4x3. There you go.
Okay, so should I go ahead and show the other two? For
Do you have them close by?
they're right beside me. Kevin
Yeah,
and
man,
Peters.
absolutely.
Are you ready for this one?
Yeah,
There,
let's
Tim?
do it. Yeah.
I think you could probably guess one based on his T-shirt, but
Yeah.
this is fun. Yeah, it's amazing what she's able to pull off. Oh wow.
Old school Mirage style. Holy moly.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
All right,
Dude.
that's one.
That's a big close up of the first turtle, the turtle head, Kevin Eastman.
Yeah,
artwork.
like the iconic original image, right? Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Yes.
Matches the shirt Eric's wearing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yep. Oh, there we
Nice.
go. He's modeling the shirt. Okay. Oh, okay. He's doing a little dance. That's
Okay.
Eric's
So
really coming out of his shell in this one. So. Oh, and there we go.
Oh yeah! Wow! Look at that. Yes.
Peters.
The first
Yeah.
layered turtle drawing.
That is so cool.
Yep.
Very cool.
She's also did. Honey, where's Splinter at? I really like this one though. The Splinter one is freaking awesome.
Let's see if he's got let's see if he's got any crap in his beard or if he's well manicured. I'm holding on to that. Yes.
Yes, that looks
Love
good.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that looks so great on camera.
And she kicks these out. Like I see like
It
almost
takes her 3
every-
days to kick these
I
out.
was gonna say it seems like almost like every week I'm seeing a brand new one.
Wow.
3 or 4
look at
days.
this.
Yeah.
Look at
That's
that.
I like that. That is really cool.
That's like directly from the
That looks like
arcade
the
game.
Nintendo game like image,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
of him talking. Yeah.
Yeah, she is. I mean, she absolutely kills these things. Like she's made like a Goku
Okay.
one. I don't know if you're part of her group or not.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, I'll invite you. I'll end up inviting you to it, and that way you can see some of the stuff that she does.
Okay.
Like she's done all kinds of like crazy ones.
Yeah, that's spectacular.
That is rad. Yeah, it really is.
Now she's got to make one of pineapple pizza. I'm just kidding. Oh, he's there.
Hey, honey, Justin says you got to make one with pineapple and pizza on it. She's smiling. Well, she's gonna come up with a rough sketch for it. So.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. But yeah, those are the majority of questions that we had. We went pretty deep on this one. Is fantastic to talk to you. I've got the 2 links for the area. I've got at TV Artworks and TVArtworks.com. Where do you like folks to interact with you, Tim?
Instagram. I live on Instagram. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
You know, you put in TV Artworks and basically any social media, and you'll find me, like Facebook. I don't really use Twitter, but I'm on there. But yeah, any social media, TV Artworks is where I'm at. But yeah, hit me up on Instagram. I love just talking with people in general. That's half the reason I do conventions. To tell you the truth, is like I just like engaging people. You don't have to buy my artwork. I just like talking. So.
And if somebody does want to get a commission from you, they can just contact you through the page.
Contact me. Yeah. Contact me. You can email me, or it's you can email me. The email's on my website, or you can just hit me up on Instagram. Yeah.
And that's great because now, after you showed us what one of those examples are of what people can request, you know the four turtles and all that we turned into our print, and we showed it to you here first. So that's fantastic. So
Yeah.
I want to thank our guests today, Tim and Eric. As always, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Guys, anyone who is listening to the audio version, you can stay tuned for the pizza recipe of the day. We've got a special guest recipe from one of the top chefs, Mr. Cody White, and I'll be back with that. Otherwise, gentlemen, thanks for being here, and we'll
Thank you.
catch you next time. Epic Tales from the Sewers.